Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Mara Mokwanda Show on Salam Media. It is 12:38 on this Monday, the 11th of January, 2021. Welcome to the show if you've just joined us. It is time for our book review, and today we are talking about unmasking. Unmasking is, or rather Unmasked by author Tshamani Rivombo, is a book that she will be taking us through, unmasking from the outside in. And when we talk about unmasking, I'm not talking about what I have just done right now, which is unmasked with this mask. No. We're talking about unmasking our lives and the masks that we wear sometimes, in order to fit into society. So Tshamani is joining me on the line to tell us more about the book. Good day, Tshamani.
Good day and good day to all the listeners. How are you doing this? Is it an afternoon already?
I think we're going to call it noon, just noon.
Just noon. Okay.
Yes. And I'm well, thanks. And yourself? Compliments to the new season.
Thank you, and same to you.
All right, now tell us about this book that you have, Unmasking, because when we think about it, at the present moment, all that we can think of are these, we're basically taking these off and we are unmasking, but this is not what we're talking about. Tell us about this interesting title of your book, and why did you choose to title it this, and what's the book all about?
So yeah, thanks for this opportunity to talk about the book. And I think when you introduced it, you encapsulated everything that the book is all about. It's about us being authentic, us being real, and removing all this mask that we wear when we go out in the public, and we sort of project an image of we've got all, it all together. Our lives are perfect, nothing is bothering us. Whereas in actual fact, we are going through the most. And so the reason that I wrote this book is that when I wrote my first book, From My Belly to Yours, I spoke a lot about my divorce. However, the feedback that I received was that, yes, you write as someone who has already healed, but you are not telling us about the process that you went through for you to get to the point where you are. So I decided not to go back to my story, my personal story, but to use stories of other people that I coach. Obviously, I had to put in some drama because the stories that they share with me are confidential, to show people that, we might look like, or we might have healed actually from whatever we went through, but there is a process that we went through. So it was an opportunity for me to sort of unmask, to sort of show what I went through, how I dealt with it, using other people's stories. So the book is about 4 characters. I use 4 independent, strong women, and who have got all it together. People look at them as if, their lives are perfect. You've got the first character was a professional woman. She's successful as a lawyer. She's leading, and nobody knows that her husband has been diagnosed with cancer, and she's finding it difficult to deal with it. And we've got another character who, unfortunately for her, or fortunately, I don't know how you look at it, she falls in love with a married man who believes in polygamy, and she has to deal with those whole issues about how do I get into this polygamy issue, and I'm not raised from that kind of family. And then we've got another character who should we call it a perpetual adulterer? She's always falling in love with people who are emotionally unavailable. And when you look at the history, you find that there's a lot that has been happening in her past that has made her to find herself in this situation. And the last character is about Tsakani, who finds out that her husband is gay, and she has to deal with how does she accept, how does she accept, does she heal, and what is the process that she goes through in order for her to heal. But then when you look at these four characters, everybody thinks that their lives are perfect, but they've got issues that they're dealing with. So the book is all about helping them to unmask, helping them to be authentic and be real in the world that they are living in.
So, why did you choose to shed some light on these particular topics, these subjects, these issues that are mentioned in your book? I mean, polygamy, for example, is something that is allowed and practiced, especially in the African cultures. So, if somebody would read it and say, okay, but this is acceptable, so, it's just another issue. Maybe for the lady it would be difficult for her because she was not raised in such a household. And then there's the issue of homosexuality, and you come down to that, how do you tell people that you were married to a gay man, and how did you not know? People will ask you, like, how did you not know? How did you not pick up the signs from that? And then there's the one with cancer. I know cancer and diseases affect all of us, and it's not something that we should shy away from, because there is help out there. But also sometimes when you try not to look at it, try not to deal with it, and focus on other things, that somewhat takes you into a different direction, and you lose focus on what you're actually supposed to be doing. And when you lose the person, then you blame yourself because you were not there for them. So tell us about these issues, and why did you choose to raise them and talk about them?
So key to everything is the issue about vulnerability. Vulnerability is a strength. I mean, the examples that you've just said, it shows that you understand what vulnerability is, but not all of us understand that. I mean, I talk about real issues. I talk about people that I coach who are going through this and who are finding it difficult to accept that they're going through this, and who are finding it difficult to disclose that I am going through this. So a few steps back, you talk about a strong, independent woman. We have this notion that we have to be strong at all times. I must not show my weakness. I must not show that I'm going through a difficult patch, because therefore that strongness will be misconstrued as weakness. Therefore, even if I'm going through the most difficult time, therefore I'm not going to share it with people. I mean, you talk about cancer being something that, I mean, it's acceptable that you have people who have suffered from that, and when you disclose, you get support and all that. But then also remember that we are working in this corporate world where you are expected to be strong at all times. You cannot break down, because the moment you break down, you show your vulnerability, then people take advantage of such things. And because of our perceived kind of strength that we need to project, we also find ourselves, and I'm going to talk specifically about women, we also find ourselves as women unable to share and unable to show the emotions that we're supposed to be showing, show the empathy that we're supposed to be showing to each other. When somebody says, I'm going through this, and get on with it, move on. You cannot show your emotions in this place, because the environment doesn't allow us to show those emotions. And hence we end up, wearing the mask that, everything is okay, but we know that everything is not okay. Vulnerability is not easy. You talk about polygamy being accepted. Yes, it is accepted, but then also remember the environment that we live in. We live in different environments. In some environments, when you talk about polygamy, okay, yeah, nothing bad about that. But then in some instances, when you talk about polygamy, therefore, a lot of people start to talk about where is your self-worth? Where is your self-esteem? How can you allow yourself to be second best? How can a man love two or three women? And those are the realities that a lot of women encounter when they find themselves in situations where they have to be the second or the third wife in a sister wife kind of arrangement. And what I've realized is that it takes a strong man and a strong woman to be able to survive in a polygamous relationship, because a relationship, even it's only the two of you, it is complex on its own. Now take in other people. How do you handle that? How do I go to my parents and tell my parents that I am getting married and I am going to be a second wife? And my parents have never encountered that in their own lives. They have not accepted it. Your friends will tell you about, oh, you weak, you don't have self-worth, you don't have a good self-esteem, because it is regarded in certain spheres that it's something that, as much as it is acceptable, our grandparents used to do it, but Runa, as educated, independent women, we cannot find ourselves in situations where we are second or third wives. So hence I bring in the issue of polygamy, where you really have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself as to, but what is it that I want in a relationship? And am I getting it from this man who has, say, two or three wives, or am I not getting it? What is it that I want instead of what is society dictating for me? So that is why I raise these issues. I mean, if you look at them at face value, it's easy. Why hide? When you go deeper into where we're coming from and what society says about these things and what people perceive you to be, because you allow yourself, or you've gotten into this kind of positions, therefore you are not, the person that they want you to be. You are not easily acceptable in society. You talk about the gay person, the gay man. So when you read the story, I mentioned that the mother knew that her son is gay, but she didn't say anything, because there is history behind where this thing is coming from. And even when the relationship started, unfortunately, the lady didn't know. Her friends will say, but you know that something is not right with your boyfriend or with your husband. But because she wanted to be in a relationship where she is loved. Now, if you read the history of Tshamani comes from a family where her mother or her father have never told her that they love her. She doesn't know what love is all about. And when she gets into this relationship, even when she sees signs that things are not really perfect here, there's something that is missing. But because she finds love, because she's been told that she is loved, therefore she decides to ignore certain signs. And hence, when she finds out that her husband is gay, it comes as a shock as to, but I thought we had everything all together. So she had to go through a whole lot of process of, how do I accept that this is the truth? Do I ignore it? Because we know that there are certain ladies who are married to men who are gay, but they're still in that relationship. There's an arrangement because of what society will say. Let's continue as if we're husband and wife, whereas we know that the husband has an affair with another man outside there. So it is the reality that Tsakani and her husband were faced with, because her husband also needed to unmask. He is living a lie, projecting this image of being a macho man, of being a family man who loves his wife, but then at the same time, he has a lover that they've been together, and it's unfair to Tsakani as the wife, and it is also unfair to his lover. So both of them needed to unmask. Jeremy, the husband, needed to unmask and face the truth that actually he is gay, and he is hurting not only his wife, he's hurting himself, and he's also hurting his lover. And Tsakani also needed to unmask to say, but how did I allow myself to be in this position? And how do I go out and face society out there and say, guys, this is what has happened. It is not my fault. I take responsibility of my actions, but then I also do move on. So at face value, it looks like these are easy issues that you can deal with. But then when you go deeper into what exactly led them to be where they are, the story then takes you along the context and the history of the different characters.
All right. There is interesting issues that are discussed in the book there. And now tell us, how can people get a copy of the book?
Okay, so the book, you can send me a WhatsApp on my number. I think you have the number. Maybe you can give it to the listeners. I'm also very active on Facebook. You can befriend me there and inbox me, and then I will send the book to you. It is also available in Melville, the Book Circle bookshop. If you find yourself in that part of town, we're busy negotiating for it to be available at Exclusive Books. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, we'll be able to conclude whether the book will be there or not. But I know that it's a negotiation that is taking place right now.
All right. And quickly give us a tip of how can we unmask our own lives. I mean, we are in January right now, and we obviously need to reflect and unmask before we can move on and, become better versions of ourselves and to be free.
Yes. I mean, unmasking is all about who are you? Do you know who you are? Do you know what your purpose, what your vision is all about? What is your center? It's all about being authentic. So when we talk about us being unmasking, is that first and foremost, be honest with yourself. Stop projecting this image that you are perfect, because there's no one who is perfect. If you are going to strive for perfectionism, you'll strive for perfectionism until you are 6 feet down. So be truthful with yourself, be honest with yourself, so that you can become authentic. And the thing is, when we are not honest with ourselves, people see it. People can see that this person is not genuine. Hence, you find that they find it difficult sometimes to connect with us. I can say all the nice, beautiful words, but then if I'm not talking from my heart, from my soul, you can easily see that someone is not being real here. So whatever situation that you are going through, it doesn't matter. You're not the first person to go through it, and you probably will not be the last. Just know that there are people around you to support you, and people, we'll be surprised how many people go through the very same things that I'm talking about, but they're not saying anything. Most of the people who have read the book, they always come back to me and say, you know what, I was so afraid to talk about this thing. I thought I was the only one. But the mere fact that I put it in writing and spoke about these stories, it helps other people to also come out and be themselves without fear of what other people will say about them or what society will say about them. So it's all about be you, be authentic, do you. There's no other person except you. If you not doing you, you're not being you, not only are you robbing yourself, but you're robbing other people, you're robbing the community, you're robbing humanity, because there's a lot in you that you can help and serve a community with.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Tshamani, and good luck with your book. And we look forward to hearing more from you in the near future.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I hope we'll continue unmasking as well.
I hope so too. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That was Tshamani Rivombo, the author of the book titled Unmasked. You can contact her on 084-294-0473. That's 084-294-0473 if you'd like to get yourself a copy of the book Unmasked. It is 12:57. We will be right back.